Why would federal government sell their properties when their agencies are littered all over the place?
You are advised not to patronize or engage in any dealings with anybody, organization, or official representing the Imo State government to avoid losing your money.
I'm from Imo State, and I know that if this news is not widely publicized, some of my own people, will definitely fall victim. And I'm not saying that I'm less interested if it were to be happening in other states. We cover all the states of Nigeria. I was privileged to represent the Nigeria police in that case, where a federal government property was actually allocated to Ekene Dilichukwu,
Yes. The popular transporter.
Yeah, yes, allocated to Ekene Dilichukwu. They will end up buying what?
They say. Hello, big country people. How are you? Hope soon are they jolly. Hope soon are the show live for Pepe. Get us one take it away you never be before. No worry yourself, everything go better. I don't like that gidiba with my update again based on how you be. Good day and welcome to Encumbered Properties Red Alert. On this show, we bring you details of encumbered properties, disputed properties or unencumbered properties that are for any reason not available for sale. I am Rex Chinedu Agwawike, your host. Today's alert is on properties located in one of the biggest cities of the country. Information from the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development says some people, unknown land grabbers as per se, are busy appropriating and reallocating federal government-owned landed properties to themselves, their cronies, and selling off some to unsuspecting victims. They are not doing this alone. A reliable source who confided in EncumberedProperties.com said the federal field officials in Imo State had already notified the federal headquarters that unknown land grabbers suspected to be working in connivance with some Imo State government officials are busy appropriating and reallocating federal government-owned properties in Imo State. By this notification, you are advised to stay away from the following properties: Mopo Base, Onisha Road, Owerri, Imo State; Shagari Low Cost, Ezioha, Mbitolu, Ikeduru Local Government Area, Imo State; Shell Camp Quarters in Owerri, Imo State; Nai Post Office, Umuguma, Owerri West Local Government Area, Imo State; and National Root Crops, Mbirichi, Ohaji Egbema Local Government Area of Imo State. You are advised not to patronize or engage in any dealings with anybody, organization, or official representing the Imo State government to avoid losing your money. The aforementioned properties are not available for sale, and the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development has warned that it will not hesitate to retrieve the property from anybody who goes ahead to patronize the land grabbers. This is one of the many reasons you are advised to always visit www.encumberedproperties.com to get real-time notifications, updates on encumbered properties, disputed properties, or unencumbered properties but for any reason not available for sale. Thank you for being there. In case you're joining us, you're watching Encumbered Properties Red Alert, and we are here to seek an expert opinion on why it is important to stay away from unencumbered properties, but for any reason not available for sale. There are properties you see out there, they are not in dispute, they are not encumbered, but the owners, for one reason or two, are not willing to sell off such property. My special guest in the building, Mr. Madueke Enwere, is a household name as far as this show is concerned. He's the founder of EncumberedProperties.com, a property lawyer and a very senior police officer. It's my pleasure to have you again.
Thank you, Rex.
I want to know, these properties aforementioned are not in dispute. And what makes it unique is the caveat is coming from the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development against some officials of a state government That makes it interesting, isn't it? So I would want to know, why do I need to stay away from unencumbered properties, but for any reason not available for sale?
To lay foundation to this question, why is it important to enlist a property that is unencumbered,
I was gonna, yes,
but at the same time not available for sale? I am very, very passionate about this series. I mean, of properties of federal government in Imo State that are not available for sale. However, the information from Federal Ministry for Housing and Urban Development is saying that there are a lot of encroachment and parceling of federal government properties in Imo State. I'm passionate about it because, I'm from Imo State, and I know that if this news is not widely publicized, some of my own people, will definitely fall victim. And I'm not saying that I'm less interested if it were to be happening in other states. We cover all the states of Nigeria. This is the third series on running of properties of federal government that are in Imo State, which the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development have flagged that these properties are not available for sale because their field officers in Imo State have informed them that there are a lot of encroachments parceling, and they suspect that this kind of encroachment is going on with some officials of the state government. So it's important because when they say officials of state government, an ordinary person will say, if the sale or if the allocation is coming from an official of the state government, it's definitely going to be genuine.
Right.
You understand? When you feel that you are dealing with a government official, that's why it is very, very risky. So I want our viewers to take, a special note of the locations mentioned. In the first series that was run here, a particular location was mentioned. This is the third in the series, and today, 5 locations captured. And I will advise that anybody viewing this particular broadcast now to take his or her time to go back to our website, and see the details of the said properties mentioned, or you rewatch this video over again so that you'll be able to get the locations mentioned. The locations mentioned are 5 different locations, and people who are supposed to be the custodians and the conscience of the people are involved in this parcelation, thinking that that the federal government is all the way in Abuja. They will
so before they will get to Imo State, they must have done it already.
They will know that their properties in Imo State are being encroached upon, and you might be the next victim, thinking that you are buying a genuine property. Please be careful. And one other thing is this: I said in the last show that because some state officials are suspected to having been involved, this shows that there might be a tampering of the data showing that these properties belong to the federal government in Imo State Land Registry. You might not be able to see that these properties are not under the state government. Remember, Land Use Act reserves any property that was vested in the federal government before coming into effect of Land Use Act of 1978. So any property that still belongs to the federal government, once the parcelation, once the selling is not from the federal government itself. And of course, why would federal government sell their properties when their agencies are littered all over the place? And there is a funny case, I was privileged to represent the Nigeria police in that case, where a federal government property was actually allocated to Ekene Dilichukwu,
Yes. The popular transporter.
Yeah, yes, allocated to Ekene Dilichukwu. The Ekene Dilichukwu had to take the federal government agency concerned to the National Assembly, and I had the privilege of representing the Inspector General of Police in that public petitions committee of House of Reps. So when the history of the property was actually revealed, when we submitted our position in the matter, that was the end of the matter. Ekene Dilichukwu, they withdrew from their claim. This is just one of the examples.
Right.
This is just one of the examples. So I would want everybody watching this video to share it, get to know the location, so that you don't put your money in a property, because federal government will definitely come for you. Imagine a private individual versus federal government.
I want to ask, Now there is a case of unknown land grabbers in connivance with some state officials, appropriating and reallocating. What if someone has already, bought a property from these people, and now this alert is coming up, and the person feels like, okay, I have been scammed. I need to go retrieve my money. Where would that person go firstly, to report this situation, to report cases like that?
Land allocation from the government is not like buying a land.
Okay.
Except where they want to generate revenue. Otherwise, once you have a genuine reason that will bring development to the state, you approach them, you apply. All you need to pay is the application fee, and they give you the land that is adequate for the reason, for the purpose you want to subject it to. You are not supposed ordinarily to pay for land. You want land for factory, for agriculture, and you are getting it from the government. Ordinarily, is not supposed to be paid for.
Right.
Even if you apply for allocation in FCT here, all you need to pay is that application fee. And if they deem your application necessary, it will be allocated to you. Most people who are close to the government, of the day, they get allocation without paying for it. Where you see people selling land is secondary allottees. I get allocation from the government and I want to make money. Having allowed the land to appreciate, I'll begin to call money. You won't get to FCDA and they'll begin to call money to give you an allocation. It's just that amount, you have to pay.
So as a property lawyer, what would you advise the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development to do in this situation? This is not the first, the second or the third time they're coming up with this alert. So something needs to be done to prevent future occurrences.
Yes, this is one of the things they need to do. Awareness.
Okay.
And we are doing it here for them free of charge. And everything about encumberedproperties.com is free of charge in the interest of the innocent public who might fall victim. We don't want you to lose your money. That's why we are doing this.
Can't they sue the officials involved?
The unknown land grabbers.
Unknown indeed.
That's one of the things you said. Why can't they sue them? I think prevention is better than cure.
Right.
Telling the members of the public to beware of this location so that nobody allocates them to you, I think is easier and better than going.
Thank God for a platform like this, because I wonder what would have been the fate of the innocent buyers out there.
They will end up buying what?
They say. Mr. Madueke Enwere, thank you so much for your time. God bless you. I'm very, very grateful to have you on ground today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your day. Would you like to get similar updates on encumbered properties, disputed properties, or unencumbered properties but for any reason not available for sale? Then subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share the video to spread the message. Follow us on our social media handles: Facebook at Encumbered Properties Limited, Instagram at Encumbered Properties Limited. Visit our website always to get real-time notifications of such properties to enable you make informed real estate decisions. Remember, the safety of your real estate investment is our priority. Till I come your way again, stay safe and stay out of troubled properties. I am Rex Chinedu Agwawike, thanking you for watching.